Hi, this is Tom, N1MM. I'm going to give a demo of how to set up a spectrum window in N1MM Plus. What you're looking at is a picture of my wife and granddaughter who's very interested in something on a computer. To start, what we'll do is we'll open the window by going Window, Spectrum, Display, and that will open a window which looks like this. And it will show the spectrum immediately if you happen to be using a IC 7300 or 7610 or 7851. Excuse me. But if you aren't, let's say you're using an SDR Sharp or SDRPlay, you'll need to right click in the top of the spectrum window and choose the spectrum source. And what you will need to do before you start is put the EXTIO DLL for the SDRPlay in the program directory. You'll then set the spectrum source to IQ via EXTIO DLL, because the EXTIO DLL is the interface between many SDRs and the program. You'll do that, and it may reopen, or it will reopen. And we need to choose the right EXTIO. I have two of them. I have a AirSpy and I also have an SDRPlay. So I will choose SDRPlay, and it will again close and reopen. And this is what you end up with. We're zoomed in way too far. You can see over here on the left we're got a 3 kilohertz bandwidth. So what that means is that we're doing too many frequency bends. We should drop down to 16K for SDRPlay. Display bins of 1024 is enough, because you really don't need more than you have width in your monitor. 1000 is usually enough, 1024. And then we need to zoom out a bit because we're watching CW, and we can zoom out to about 41 hertz per pixel or 42 kilohertz per 1024 pixels. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to set the scrolling option to fixed, but I usually use fixed mode with scrolling, but with fixed it'll be easier to see what's going on. So for the demo, I'll leave it there. And we're going to leave the spot markers and the signal markers as they come out of the box, which is show spots, non-dupes, and show red markers for all. So what is special about the spectrum display is these little red dots, which indicate signals that are being heard. So if I click near one of those or in line with one of those, we'll jump and tune in the signal. From the band map, from packet spots, we get the signal, or the station call sign, OV1 CDX. We can also use the keyboard to jump around. If I hit Shift Up, which you can't see me doing, but I will do that, it will jump to the next signal, and the next signal, and the next signal, and the next signal. If you want to operate unassisted, you can do so. You just would not connect to Telnet nor get the call signs at the top. The only call signs you would see at the top are call signs that you yourself entered for QSOs that you logged, or QSO or call signs that you copied and tuned off on. Some of the operational things about the spectrum display: this blue line is the threshold that the program uses to determine that something's a signal. You can see that this guy here is a signal, but we're not picking it up. So if we roll this down until he starts peaking above, this one right here is now a signal, and we can click on it, and it's wandering around. It's coming in and out, so it's not picking that up real sharply. But we can go over to this one. And he just stopped transmitting, of course. Here he came back. Now let's see if this guy's back. Yeah, you can hear him barely in there. And so on. So if we bring it up higher, just for demonstration, if you were DXing, you'd want it lower. If you don't have stations that are new anymore in the contest, you would want it lower. But for demonstration purposes, it's nice to have it a little higher. In the right-click menu, you have spectrum source relay options. You can actually send this spectrum to another copy of N1MM logger. I'm not going to demonstrate that here, but if you wanted to have your SDR running on one computer and send the output to another, you can do that. It'll work exactly the same. Associated radio, what radio do you want the SDR to track? Show waterfall, most people want to leave that on. Show noise floor as line. We're doing that. And we're snapping the signal. That means if you're close to a signal and you click, it will snap the frequency to that signal rather than the exact frequency. If you don't want to snap to a signal, you can move very close to a signal down here in the waterfall area, and it does not snap to the signal, but if you go up above, it does snap to it. So that's the difference. I'll demonstrate that again with a signal that's here's not snapping and there's snapping. Moving along, signal decay speed, usually fast is better for single sideband, slow for CW. Right now I have it on medium. Round single sideband signals to the nearest half kilohertz. If you were DXing on a weekend in the single sideband portion of the band, many people keep their signals on half kilohertz boundaries, and that'll improve the signal locking that you'll see. It does lock on single sideband signals, but not quite as well as on CW. The background color you can change to white, which I think is horrible. Actually, the first one was your the background color of your normal screens. You can also choose white, and I think black works the best, so that's the default. Scrolling options, like I mentioned. Center mode, which is frequently used. Fixed mode with scrolling will jump when you get near the edge of the band. Like if you clicked on this signal over here, it would recenter on that signal if you had fixed with scrolling. Screen size factor, that's not really important. Reduce screen smearing when tuning. I don't even remember what that does. Let's see. If I tune a little bit. Oh, because we're in fixed mode, we're not going to smear at all when tuning. I will put it on center mode and show you that unlike a lot of spectrum displays, it tries to keep the waterfall lined up with the signals in the top. So you see the waterfall is scrolling as well, which is a nice thing to have it do. Let's go back to fixed mode and let's look at Find CQ frequencies above this frequency. This is obsolete. I left it in while the new functionality is being tested out by the user community. To find CQ frequencies, there's a little button here up in the upper left. You click on that, and it will find the 5 best CQ frequencies in the range that you're looking at. So if we zoom in a bit and we do that again, hit clear and then find them again, they're all down here at the bottom. Let me zoom out a bit. And let's see down here. Oh yeah. So I need to go to center mode so we can demonstrate this. Scrolling options, center mode. So now I'll zoom in a little bit more, move in where things are a little bit tighter, see what the frequencies are. Okay, so there you see it finds 5 pretty clear CQ frequencies. And it looks over the past 1 minute, so we haven't been stable at a frequency for 1 minute. So the longer you wait with the display in a fixed position, the longer period of time it will spend looking for the CQ frequencies. So if I hit clear and do it again, then you find that it's doing a better job of finding those frequencies. The reason it didn't find these up here is because it found 5 completely clear ones down below. The CQ frequencies are cleared when you press the clear button or when you call CQ with a function key. Reset radios is the same reset radios as in the band map, and people sometimes get more of these windows than they want. If you want to get rid of it, you click permanently delete this window and you can recreate it at a later time. The one thing about an SDRPlay that should be emphasized, let's go back over here, go to the IQ pane, open this SDR's own UI, and we do that and we get this dialog for an SDR. You want to copy this as closely as you can, particularly 0IF, 200 kilohertz, and a 0.20 sample rate, which will follow the bandwidth that you specify. You want to set your gain controls somewhere like this so that you don't have too much or too little gain. And when you do this, you will get the best resolution and operation of an SDRPlay. An AirSpy is more automatic. There's less to set there. Be sure to close the SDR UI with this button over here on the right, because that will restart the SDR. It's been paused, as you can see. So that's it for setting up an SDR or a spectrum window within N1MM Plus. I hope this has been helpful to you. Bye-bye.